So hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial video, we are going to create a Netflix clone with the help of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. You have noticed that most YouTube videos have uploaded how to create a Netflix landing page with the help of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. But if you have tried creating it or if you have downloaded the source code they have provided to you, you have noticed that it's not at all responsive. But you are in a correct video. In this video, I will show you how to create a Netflix landing page clone responsive with the help of HTML and CSS. So without wasting the time, let's start the tutorial video. If till now you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. So let's jump to our browser screen. So now we are on our easy2code.com. That's my personal website up here. The link will be provided in the description below. Just come to my website, come to the source code section up here, scroll down to the Netflix landing page clone. Just select that and you can scroll down a bit, and you can even download a source code by clicking on the source code button. And if you need a live demo to check whether it's responsive or not, you can just click on the live demo button up here. And this is the clone that we are going to create in our today's video. So this is our simple header, and this is our headers banner page up here, which you can see we are having some extra information related to our website. We are having our email address input. That's really cool. And when we scroll down, we are having some sections up here, which is like enjoy on your TV section, in which at the right side we are having a PNG image. In that PNG image we are having a video that is auto played and it's looping again and again. And if we scroll down, we are having our second section, third section, fourth section, and this is our last section that is really cool. This section is created with JavaScript. Frequently asked question. These are the questions that is asked to the Netflix website. What is Netflix? If you need the answer, just click on this plus icon up here. You can get the answer. That's really cool. And if we scroll down, we are having an email address input, and after that we are having our simple basic footer that is created with CSS. So this is the clone that we are going to create in our today's video. So without wasting the time, let's start creating our Netflix clone. And if you want to see how it's gonna look responsive in our Android devices, just take your browser to a small screen and you can just go through it. That's cool. That's really amazing. That looks beautiful. Same like a Netflix clone. Nothing, a little bit also, there's no difference. We have created full copy of a Netflix website, which you can see up here. That looks really cool. And I think so it's created better than Netflix website. Amazing. So let's start creating it. Alright guys, it depends on you which code editor you want to use. So in this video, I will be using the Visual Studio Code Editor because it provides you a good and beautiful extensions, and even the most important thing is that it provides you a live server. The extension you can download by coming to this extensions tab up here, search for the live server and download the live server extension to see what's happening with your application live. So this is the Netflix clone folder that is created on my desktop, and inside this folder we are having a folder known as assets. In this assets folder we are all gonna have all of the files for stylings, images and videos. If I open this folder up here, you can see there are 4 more new folders, that is CSS, images, JS and videos. In our images and in our videos folder, we are having all of the images and the videos that we are going to use in our Netflix clone. So let me collapse all of these files and create 3 more new files. One is going to be HTML, one is going to be CSS, and the third one is going to be JavaScript. So for creating the HTML file, I will name it as index.html. And to create my CSS file, I will come inside my CSS directory, right click, create a new file named as style.css. For creating a JavaScript, I will create it in a new directory that is going to be for personal JavaScript. I will create a new file up here that will be named as script.js, or you can name it as you want. It not depends on me that what name I'm keeping. You also need to keep that same name. You can keep whatever you like. So I'm just going to name it as script.js. That's it. We have created the files that we are going to use for creating our Netflix landing page clone. So first of all, we need a basic HTML template. To get a basic HTML template in VS Code editor, you need to press Shift+1 and now press enter to get a basic HTML template. And I'm going to change the title to the title that is provided to the Netflix website. To check that, I'm just going to open my browser, open a new tab and search for netflix.com. So this is the netflix.com's website, which you can see up here. So this is the title. How I'm going to get the title? The title is already copied and pasted in my notepad. So I'm just gonna directly copy it from my notepad and paste it up here in our title tag. So let me copy the title and paste it inside my title tag. Now let me link my CSS and my JavaScript file. So for linking my CSS and JavaScript file, what I'm going to do up here, I'm going to have my link tag. Inside the href, I'm going to come inside my assets folder, CSS folder and select the file. Same I'm going to do with our JavaScript file. Coming inside the script tag, creating a source, coming inside my assets folder, JavaScript and selecting the JavaScript file that is created for my application. Let's save that. Now our CSS and our JavaScript file is linked with our HTML. That's cool. Now we are just going to add some extra links, like we are going to add our tab icon link. So if you come to the Netflix website up here, you can see on the tab we are having a beautiful N, that's the Netflix logo on our tab. So for adding that, we are having the images folder. Inside this images folder, you can notice up here we are having a tab-icon.png that only we are going to be using up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to provide it a comment up here. So let me name it as tab icon link, and now let me make it as a comment. And after this, I will be using a link tag, but inside the rel I'm not going to provide it a style sheet. It is going to be for icon. So I will be providing the icon up here. Now let's provide our image. Inside my assets, images, we are having tab-icon. I'm just gonna select that and save it. This is our style.css file. So let me provide it a comment so it will be really easy to know whether which link is for which file. So this is for our main CSS file, and our last link will be for our bootstrap CSS link, because we are just going to be using the bootstrap in this project. So let me provide my bootstrap link up here, and the comment is provided that it's a bootstrap CSS link. That's it for our linking. Now let's start creating our header section. So before creating our header section, I'm just going to save it. I'm going to right click on my HTML file and open it with live server, so you can see what's being happening in our application. So now you can see up here, this is the real Netflix website and this is the clone that we are going to create. We are having our beautiful N as a logo and a title that is there on the Netflix website. So now let's minimize our Chrome and let's start creating our header section. So what I'm going to do up here is that I'm going to provide it a comment that is going to be header section starts. So you will notice that when is our header section starting and where it is ending. That will be really good for you. So header section ends up here, and now I'll make it also as a comment. That's cool. Now let's start creating it. So what I'm going to do up here is that I will be using the header tag for creating my header, and I'm going to provide this header a class of showcase. Okay, first of all, let's create our banner. Now you will be confused, what is the banner? The banner, if you come to the Netflix website up here, this is the banner image that is added and that we are going to add in our header tag. So let me just close this and keep my website only opened up here. Let's minimize it and let's come to our CSS file. After coming to our CSS file, we are just going to provide some default stylings up here. Our margin is going to be 0. Our padding also we are just going to provide it 0. And now let's provide the box sizing to border box. That's it. And now let me provide a comment up here that is for header section. So I'll be providing a comment that is going to be header section code starts up here. Now I'm just going to provide a class that I have given to my header tag, that was showcase. If you come to the HTML and see up here the class is showcase, I'm just gonna select that class, and inside this I'm going to provide my image a width of 100%, and the height is also going to be 100 VH. And after that I will be providing it a position that is going to be relative. Now I need a background image. So the background image URL is there with me. I'm just going to copy the background image URL up from here, and I'll create a background up here. So the background, I'm going to be using a URL up here, and inside this URL, inside the single quotes, I'm going to paste the link that I will be using for the banner. And after our parenthesis, I'm just gonna say them that not to repeat the banner image, and align our image in center, and image should be covering our web page. Let's save that. Let's come back to our browser, reload the page, and now you can see up here this is the image for our Netflix clone. Now let's add some styling to it. If you come to the Netflix website or a created clone by me in my easy to code website, and if you come to the source code section, come to the demo, you can see up here we have provided it some box shadows that we are going to add up of this image. So let's add that. So for doing that, I'm just going to select the class that I've provided, that is showcase, and I will be adding column after, and inside this I will be creating an empty content. For styling it, I'll be providing it a position absolute, and now from top I will be using 0, from left I will be using 0, and now let's provide it some width and a height. Their width is going to be 100%, and the height is also going to be 100%. Now let's provide it a z index that is going to be 1, not -1, sorry. Now let's provide it a background color that we are going to be using for the image, that is going to be RGBA, and the color is 0 0 0, and the last one is 0.6. And after that we are just going to provide it a box shadow, and in box shadow we are just going to be using the inset 120 pixel, 100 pixel, 250 pixel, and the color that we need to provide, I need to provide a black color, so I'll be using 6 zeros up here as the hex value. After that I'm going to add inset again, and I will be using -120 pixel, -100 pixel, and 250 pixel, and the color will be same black. So I'm just going to provide 360 as the hex value of the color. Let's save that. Let's come to our application, and now when we see up here, the banner image looks really cool and amazing. That's it for our header section. Now let's create our nav bar. So for creating our nav bar, we are going to come to the HTML file, and inside my header section I'm going to provide it a comment that is going to be for nav bar. Let me make it as a comment, and inside this what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a nav tag for creating a nav bar up here, and I'm going to provide this nav a class of showcase -top. Inside this nav tag I'm going to create an image because the Netflix image I need to add. So the image is there inside my assets folder. We are having an images folder, and the image name is as logo.png. So I'm just going to add that, and I'm not going to add the alt text because no need of it, and I'm going to provide this image an ID of logo. So after this image we are having two buttons. One is for our selecting options, whether which language you need to select, Arabic or English, and the second button is for signing in. So let's create it. After the image we are going to create a beautiful button. We are going to provide it a type that is going to be submit, and after that we are just going to even provide it a class for submission. And now let's name our button, that is going to be sign in. That's cool. And after this button we need to have a drop down select options. So for selecting that I will be using the select tag. Inside this select tag we are not going to provide it either a name or an ID, so I'm just going to remove this. Inside the select tag we are going to have two options to select the languages, either Arabic or either in English. So let's have our option tag. let's provide it a value that is going to be /kw/. After that, we are just going to have Arabic as our text. So I'm having a text in my notepad. I'm just going to select that text and I'm going to copy it and paste it inside my options tag. That's cool. And after that, we are going to have our second option tag. Its value is going to be /kw-English. Let's end it also with a / and I'm going to change the text to English. Now when we save that and if we come to our browser up here, we can see up here we are having our Netflix logo, but it's at the background image, back of our box shadow. So we need to provide it a z index of 2 to make it front of our background image. And you can see up here we are having a sign in button and the languages button that is not being selected because we need to change the z index for our header. So for that, let's come to our CSS file. Let's open our VS Code editor. Let's come to our CSS file and let's provide a heading up here or a comment up here that is going to be for our nav bar. And inside this, we are just going to select our nav class that I have provided, that is showcase-top. What I'm going to do up here, I'm going to provide it a position relative, not inherit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change its z index to 2 because for our background image box shadow I have provided it a z index of 1, and to make my nav bar look at the top of the banner image I will be providing it a z index of 2. And let's provide it some padding. So padding I'm going to provide to my nav bar, that is going to be 26 pixel, 0 pixel, 0 pixel and 55 pixel. Let's save that. Let's come to our application and now we can see up here this is our Netflix logo, this is our sign in button, and this is our select option in which we can select either language which you want, either Arabic or either English. Let's minimize the browser. Now let's style our logo. So for styling our logo we have provided it an ID of logo, so we are just going to select that. Let's come to our showcase-top. Let's provide it an ID of logo. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the height of my logo to 35 pixel. That looks cool. After that, we are just going to style our submit button. That means our login button or a sign in button. Yeah, correct. So I'll be coming inside my nav class. Inside that, I will be selecting the class that I have provided to my login button, that is .submit. I'm going to provide it a background color that is going to be hashtag E. It's a hex value 50914, and after that we are just going to provide it a color that's going to be white. I don't need a border on the button, so I'll be providing the border none, and let's provide some padding inside the button that is going to be 5 pixel from top and bottom. From right and left I'm going to provide it 16 pixel. Let's provide some border radius to the button that is going to be 3 pixel, and now this button will be floated at the right side. Let's provide it a position of relative, and from right side I'll be providing some space of 55 pixels that I have provided even to my logo. If you see up here some padding from the left side, that was 55 pixel. Same thing I'm going to do with my submit button. I'm going to provide it a padding from the right side 55 pixel. If I save it and come to my browser, you can see up here we are having the Netflix logo, and up here we are having our sign in button with the padding of 55 pixel from right. Now let's style our select button. So for styling our select button, we can just directly select the tag. Let's come inside my nav bar, and inside this we are just going to select our tag that was select, and we're going to change its background color to transparent. Now let's provide the text color to white, and after that we are just going to provide this a border radius of 3 pixel, and after that we are just going to say it to float at the right side, and from position relative I'm going to provide it some space from the right hand side. So from right I'm going to provide it 85 pixel, and now I need to style the options. If I save it, if I come to my browser and if I select it, as you can see the options are having a background color. I need to just remove the background color and change the color to black. So let me come inside my showcase-top. I will come inside my select tag. Inside this, I'll be selecting my option tag and I'm just going to change the color to black. Let's save that. Let's come to the browser. Let's select our select option. And now you can see up here, we are having our languages, Arabic and English, that you can select up from here. So let's provide some padding to the select button up here. So for providing a padding, I will be using the padding 5 pixel and the 10 pixel. Let's save that. Let's come back to our clone up here, and as you can see, this is the navbar that we have created with the help of HTML and CSS. That looks really cool. Now let's make this navbar responsive. If I inspect it and scroll down up here, and if I change it to the responsiveness, and if I come back up here, I need to change it. When it comes to the mobile device, it's just that means having the Z index minus then our Netflix logo. So I need to just change its font size and some padding to our button. So for that, we are just going to write some media queries for the responsive CSS code. Alright, that's cool. So for writing the media queries, I'm going to come to my VS Code editor. I'll scroll at the bottom below, and up here I'm going to provide it a comment that is going to be responsive CSS code. Let's make it as a comment and let's write a media query up here that we are going to be using for making our navbar responsive. So we are just going to write a media query that is going to be @media, and we are going to provide it a maximum width that is going to be 659 pixel. And inside this, we are going to write a code for our responsive navbar. So let me provide it a comment up here. That is going to be for our navbar. And inside this, I'm just going to select the showcase -top. I'm going to provide it a padding that is going to be 26 pixel, 0 pixel, 0 pixel, and 25 pixel. After that, I'm going to select my logo and change its height. So for selecting my logo, I'm going to come inside my nav tag, and inside that I'm going to select my logo by the ID that I have provided to it and change its height to 25 pixel. Now let's change our button and our select button. So I'll be coming inside my nav tag. I'm going to select my login sign in button with the class that I have provided to it of submit. I'm going to provide it a position relative. From right side, I'm going to provide it 25 pixel, and I'm going to change its inside padding that I have provided to the button to 2 pixel and 10 pixel. After that, let's style our select button. I'll come inside my showcase -top. I'm going to select the tag and I'm going to provide it a position relative, not inherit, it's going to be relative. And after that, I'm going to provide it from right 40 pixel, and let's provide it some padding that is going to be same as the padding that I have provided to my submit button, 2 pixel from top bottom, and from right and left I'm going to provide it 10 pixel. That's cool, that's cool. Let's save that, and if I come to my browser and if I see up here, now it looks really cool. But now when it comes to 331 pixel, it is also going to be overflowed. So I need to write some media queries for 346 pixel. Am I correct? Yes. So let's come back to our VS Code editor and let's write a media query for our 346 pixel for our navbar. So let's create a media query up here of a maximum width that is going to be 346 pixel, and inside this I'm going to provide it a comment for our navbar because this is the responsive code that I'm writing for our navbar. Let's select our showcase -top. I need to change my logo's size, so I'll be providing it an ID of logo. Let me change its height to 22 pixel other than 25 pixel. After that, I'm going to select my submit and my select button to change its padding. So I'll come inside my nav tag, I'll select my submit button, the class that I have provided to it, and change its padding from top and bottom to 1 pixel, from right and left to 5 pixel. Now let's select my select button, and I'm going to provide it a padding that is going to be 1 pixel and 0 pixel from right and left. Let's provide it a position of relative, and from right side I'm going to provide it 30 pixel. that's it for responsive code for our 346 pixel media query. Let's save it, let's come to our browser, and now if you see up here, that looks really cool if we check it in a responsive device. Now let's go all through the bigger size of the screen up here, that is 2030 pixel up here. And now if we are scrolling down to the responsive size, as you can see, it looks really cool. This is our tablet size, and when we come below 500 pixel, it is going to be for our mobile devices, and this is for our mobile devices, and this is for our Samsung Galaxy Fold because it's the smallest and the thinnest mobile in 2021. If I select from here my Galaxy Fold, and as you can see now the navbar looks responsive and cool. So now we are just going to create our middle information section in which we are going to have some title, some h4 tags and some paragraph tags, and after that we are going to have our input for email address and for a get started button. So let's create it. So I will be inside the header section, so let me come to my VS Code editor, and I will be there inside my header section up here. Inside this header section I'm going to create a comment up here that is going to be get started, because this is going to be our get started section. So in this I'm going to create a div, and I'm going to provide it a class that is going to be get hyphen started hyphen container. Alright, inside this div the first heading is going to be with the h1 tag. So the h1 tag, and we are having the heading that is unlimited movies TV. Then we are going to have a line break with shows and more. So I'm just going to paste it inside the h1 tag because I have already copied the heading and pasted it in my notepad. So let me paste it in my h1 tag. As you can see up here, the first and the most important thing, if I open my created Netflix clone, we can see up here we are having unlimited movies TV, and after that we are having a line break, and at the bottom of the text we are having shows and more. So what I'm doing up here is that after my TV I'm adding a BR tag, so the line will break, and at the bottom of this TV we are just going to get shows and more. After that we are just going to have a paragraph tag, so let me create a paragraph tag. Let me provide it a class that is going to be para-1, and now what's the paragraph? The paragraph is watch anywhere, cancel anytime. So I'm just going to copy it from my notepad and paste it inside this paragraph. After that we are having our third paragraph, so let me create a p tag up here. Let me provide it a class that is going to be para-2, and the last paragraph is ready to watch, enter your email to create or restart your membership. So I'm just going to copy the text and paste it inside my paragraph. After that we are having our email address input and our get started button. So let's create our input first. So I'm going to create an input which is going to be having a type of a text, or either you can name it password, email, anything you want. I'm going to provide it a name that is going to be for email address, and let's provide it a placeholder that is going to be email address. Now let me close this input. Now I have created the input. Now I need to create a button for get started. So for creating a button, I will be using the button tag. Inside this button, I'm going to provide it a type that is going to be submit. Now what's the text of my button, or you can say what's the placeholder of my button? That is get started. And you can see up here we are having an arrow, so I will be using up here a greater than sign. Let's save that. Let's come to our project. So I'm going to right click on the HTML file and open it with live server. As you can see, when I open it with live server and close my old opened file up here, you can see up here we are having our extra informations, and we are having our input and our get started button, but it is hidden back of my background box shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide it a z index of 2. So let's style our get started part. So I'm just going to come to my style.css file, and after my option up here I'm going to provide it a comment that is going to be get started. Let me make it as a comment, and after that I'm just going to select my get started container. So for selecting that, I will be going inside my showcase, that is my header, and inside that I'm having a div which is having a class of a container. So get started hyphen container. What I'm going to do is I'm going to provide it a z index that is going to be 2, so it will display at the top of my box shadow. And now let's provide it a position that is going to be relative. After that, I will align all of the text in the center. Let me provide it a position relative, and from top I'm going to provide some space. So the position relative is already defined, so no need to define it again. So I'm just going to provide up here at the bottom of position relative. I'm going to provide from top 180 pixel, and the width I'm going to provide to my get started container, that is going to be 100% of my web page. Let's save that. Let's come to our project, and now we can see our text, we can see our email address input, and our get started button. Now what we need to do is we need to style it. So let's style our h1 tag. So for styling our h1 tag and our paragraph tag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my header. Inside that I'm having my get started container, and inside that I'm having my h1 tag and my paragraph tag. What I need to do is for my heading and for my paragraph tag, I need to change its color to white. So let's change its color to white. Let's save that and let's check how it's gonna look. Alright, that looks cool. Let me minimize my browser again, and now we are just going to style my h1 tags font size and all of my paragraphs font size. So for styling my font size for my h1 tag, I'm going to come inside the header. Same thing I'm going to repeat again. I'm going to come inside my get started container. I'm going to select my h1 tag, and now let's provide it a font size. That is going to be 3.9 rem. After that, I need to style my paragraph. So I'm having two paragraphs, which is provided a class of para1 for first paragraph, para2 for the second paragraph. So I need to select it up here. So dot para -1. What I'm going to do up here, I'm going to provide this a font size that is going to be 1.7 rem. But you can see I have written font by mistakenly. I'm just going to change it to font size. That's cool. Now let's style our second paragraph. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the 3 line of code from here, paste it below of that, gonna change this to para2 and change the font size to 1.2 rem. Let's save that. Let's see how it's gonna look. Alright, that looks cool and same as our Netflix clone that is already created. Now we need to style our email address input and our get started button. So for styling our input, I'm just going to directly select my input tag. So let's come inside our header, inside my container, and there's the input. I'm just going to select that input, and I'm going to provide the input a width that is going to be 35%, and I'm going to provide a padding inside my input that is going to be 22 pixel from top, right, bottom, and left. I'll be providing 22 pixel, and I don't need a border on my input, so I'm just going to say border none. Let's provide some margin from the top to my input. That is going to be 0.5%. Now let's save that. Let's come to our project and let's see how it's going to look. That looks really cool. When I just select my input, the problem is that we are getting an outline. So let's remove that outline. For removing the outline, we are just going to come to our input, and now what we are going to do is we are just going to say that outline none. Let's save that. Let's come back up here. Now when I select the input, our outline is not being displayed. That's cool. Now let's style our get started button. So for styling our get started button, same thing we are going to repeat, coming inside my header, coming inside my get started container, and after that we are going to select the button with the tag. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide some padding inside my button that is going to be 22 pixel. After that, I don't need a border, so I will be using border none. Let's provide a background color to my button that is going to be #E, and the color was in our choose box, so I have just directly chosen it. And the button text color I'll be choosing white because that will look clear in red background color. After that, I'm just going to provide some margin from the left that is going to be -0.3%. And let's provide it a font weight of bold. Let's save it. Let's come to our browser, and now our Netflix clone looks really cool. We are having a h1 tag, we are having our second tag, a paragraph tag, our third paragraph tag, and fourth is our email address with input with the get started button. That looks really cool. So This is our created clone. If I inspect my created clone, as you can see how cool it looks when it comes in the 932 pixel, the get started button display as a block. So we are just going to do it and make this look responsive. So if I inspect my project up here, and if I just make it responsive, as you can see up here, this is the project that was created. Let me close this so you're not gonna get anything confused up here. I'm just directly inspecting up here the project that we are creating now, and if I see up here, that doesn't look cool. As you can see, when I just come to my Android device size, the font size is same, and our input is being overflowed outside of our banner image. So what we are going to do is we are just going to write some media queries for styling our get started section. So let's minimize our browser. Let's come to our responsive CSS code section. Inside this, we are just going to create a new media query. So before my 659 pixel media query, I'm going to create another media query up here, and I'm going to provide it a maximum width that is going to be 943 pixel. And now let's provide a curly braces, enter, and the code that I'm going to write for the responsive up here, that is for our get started section. So let me provide a comment up here. So when I will be providing you a source code, and if you're downloading, if you need to make some changes, you can easily make it. So inside this get started section, first of all, I'm just going to select my container. Inside my header, I'm going to select my container, and I'm going to provide it a position of relative, and now I will be providing it from top 90 pixel. After that, I'm just going to select my h1 tag and change its font size. Let me change its font size to 3.4 rem. After that, I'm just going to change the font size for my para 1 and para 2. So for doing that, I'll be coming inside my showcase, get started container, and I'll be selecting the class that I have provided to my first paragraph. I will change its font size to 1.5 rem. Now let me select my second paragraph. Let me change its font size, that is going to be 1 rem. That's cool. Now I need to style my input and a button. So for styling my input, same thing. Inside my header, inside my get started container, I'm going to select my input tag, and I'm going to provide it padding inside my input, that is going to be 17 pixel, and the width of my input is going to be 55%. Now let's style the button. So for styling my button, same thing. Inside my get started container, I'm going to select the button, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say display block. What does this display block gonna do is, this display block will make my button at the bottom of the input. If I save it up here, and if I come to my project, if I right click inspect, and if you see up here now, when we come below 943 pixel, we can see our button is not displaying at the right side of my input. It is displaying at the bottom and at the left side of my input. So that what our display block does. Let's come to our project, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to display it as flex. And now you will be confused why I'm using display flex again. I'm just going to align items. That means I'm going to align my button in center. So that's why I'm using the display flex. If I just see it's not working now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide it a margin 0 auto. Now if I see, now it's aligned in the center of our get started container. Now I'm going to provide it some margin from the top. That is going to be 1.5%. Now let's provide some padding inside my button. That is going to be 12 pixel. Let's save it. Let's come to our project, and as you can see, that looks really cool. Now when we come to 653 pixel, our text is being aligned at the left side, so we need to style it. So for styling it, we are just going to come to 659 pixel. So let me minimize my browser, and now let me just close this media query section up here. Then as you can see up here, we are having our second media query, that is 659 pixel. I'm going to provide a comment up here that is going to be for our get started section. And inside this get started section, first of all I'm just going to select my get started container, and I'm going to provide it a position relative, and from top I'm going to provide it 60 pixel. And after that I'm going to select my heading 1. So inside my showcase, inside my container, there's an h1 tag. I'm going to change its font size to 2 rem. After that, let me provide some padding to my h1 tag, that is going to be 50 pixel. And let's provide it a padding from bottom, that is going to be 0 pixel. I'm going to remove the padding from the bottom of my h1 tag. After that, we are just going to style our para 1 and para 2. So for styling it, let's select it. And what I'm going to do for para 1, I'm just going to change its font size to 1.5 rem. Let me select my second paragraph. And for my second paragraph, I'm going to keep its font size for 1 rem. That's cool. Now let's style our input. So I'm just going to come to my showcase. I'm going to select my get started container. Inside that, I'm just going to select my input, and I'm going to provide some padding to my input of 14 pixel. And now let's provide it a width of 70%. Let's save it. Let's come to our project, and now as you can see, it's done. It's perfectly done. It's all right, but we are getting an error. That is when we just come to this 659 pixel media query, we are just getting the extra white space at the right hand side. So let's remove that. So let's see what we have done wrong up here. In the get started container, I have provided the position relative. Why am I okay, from top I'm using the 60 pixel. Get started container, we have selected our para 1, para 2, and then up here we have added a comma. As you can see up here, we have added a comma. So that's the error that we are getting. So let's remove the comma, let's save it, let's come to our project, and that's done. Now it's working fine. Now if you see, our get started section is fully responsive, and that looks really cool. Let's see, when we come to 346 pixel up here, our text is in big font size. Let's change its font size. So let's write a media query for 346 pixel for our get started section. Let's come to our VS Code editor. Let's come to our last media query, that is for 346 pixel. Let's provide a heading up here that is going to be for our get started. That means the code that I'm going to write is for our get started container. Inside this, first of all, I'm just going to change the font size for my h1 tag, that is going to be 1.5 rem. And after that, I'm going to select my first paragraph. I'm going to provide it a font size that is going to be 1.1 rem. Now let me select my second paragraph up here, and let's provide it a font size that is going to be 0.8 rem. Now let's save it. Let's come to the browser, and if you see up here, now it looks really cool. If we are in the small devices like Galaxy Fold or iPhone X, iPhone 6, it looks really cool. If you're in the smaller devices, then the text will look amazing. So from here, if I select the Galaxy Fold, as you can see, the text looks really cool and it's looking beautiful. So now we have created our nav bar. We have created our header section completely up here. So up here, our header section is created. Alright guys, so now we have created our header section. Now let's start creating our main section in our Netflix clone. So now we're just going to create this section. There are totally 4 sections in our main part. This is going to be our first section. This is going to be our second section. This is going to be our third section. And the last one, this is going to be our fourth section. So without wasting the time, let's start creating it. So what I'm going to do is, this is the created clone which is opened in my website. I'm just going to close this browser because I don't need it. So now what I'm going to do is, my code will be at the left side and my browser will be open on the right side, so you can see what's happening live. So now as we have created our header section, now let's start creating our main section. So after my header section ends, I'm just going to press 2 times enter, and I'm going to create a comment that will be main section starts. And after that the main section ends. Now let me make it as a comment. Now inside this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a section tag, and I'm going to provide this section a class that is going to be main hyphen section. Inside this main section, I'm going to be having a comment for my first section that is going to be enjoy on your TV. Alright, inside my enjoy on your TV, I'm just going to create a div which is going to be having a class that is going to be my section hyphen container. So this is going to be my enjoy on your TV, that is my first section container. I'm just going to press enter so you will not be confused when I'm writing a code up here. Inside this container, I'm going to have one div for my left column and one div for my right column. So let me create a div for my left column, which is going to be having a class of left hyphen column. So inside my left column, I'm going to be having a heading 1 tag that is going to be saying enjoy on your TV. And the second one we are going to be having in our h3 tag. And let's come to our website. So let me open a new tab. Just let me drag it outside of my first browser screen, and let me go to my website, come to the source code section, come to my clone, let's go to the live demo source, scroll down to the first section, and as you can see, this is the paragraph that I have written inside my h3 tag. So what I'm going to do for easy, I'm just going to copy this text from here, minimize my browser, and paste it inside my h3 tag. So it will work faster and our time will be, it will take less time. After my left column is ended, now let's create a div for our right column, in which we are going to have an image. Inside that image we are going to have a video that is going to be loop, and it will be auto played. So let me create a div which is going to be have a class of right hyphen column. So in this right column, the first thing that I'm going to add is the image. So let me create an image tag. Let me come inside my assets folder. I will be coming inside my images folder, and after that I will be selecting my tv.png image. Now let me just close this image tag. After this image tag, we are going to be having a video. So let's create a video tag. So I'll just directly write a video tag, and I'm getting a source to add my video. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this source up from here, and I'm going to provide this video a class that is going to be video hyphen 1. And what I'm going to do is I will say them to autoplay this video. After that I will say plays inline, that equals to empty, and after that I will say the video should be muted, and after that I will say them to loop this video again and again when it ends. And now inside my video tag, I'm going to create a source tag. Inside my source tag, I will be having a source to my video. Let's come inside my assets folder. Inside my videos folder, I'm having video1.m4v. I'm just going to add that. And now I'm going to provide it a type that is going to be video /mp4. Now when we save it, and if you see our live server up here, we can see up here we are having our left column and we are having our right column, in which we are having our image, that is our TV image, and at the bottom of that we are having our video with no controls, only video is looping again and again, and it is auto played. And as you can see up here, now the overflow X is being seen. That is because our image is taking 100% of its width. So now let's style it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open my CSS file. So as you can see up here, I'm on my CSS file. Above my responsive CSS code, I'm going to provide it a heading that is going to be main section starts. Now I'll provide it a comment. I'm going to press 2 times enter, so it will be having some line breaks before styling my main section.
Now inside my main section, I'm going to provide it a comment because my first section is going to be enjoy on your TV. So let me provide a tab and enjoy on your TV. Now let me make it as a comment. Now inside this, I'm going to write my code for styling it. So first of all, I will be coming inside my section. The class that I have provided is main hyphen section to it. Inside that, I will be coming to my first section. The class that I have provided is section hyphen container. Inside this, I'm going to provide it a border from top that is going to be 8 pixel solid hashtag 222. Now when I save it, you can see up here, if you just see it nicely up here, you can just zoom and check it out, that there's a 8 pixel border from top. After that, I'm just going to provide it a background color that is going to be black. And now let me use display flex. Why am I using display flex? I am saying whatever is there inside my section container, I'm having two divs, just make them display flex, and the flex direction by default is going to be row, so it will be showing at one at left side and one at right side. After that, I'm just going to provide it some padding inside this main container that is going to be for top bottom 0 pixel, and from left and right I'm going to provide it 80 pixel. And after that, I'm going to provide some padding from bottom that is going to be 90 pixel. Now let's save it, and now as you can see, it looks really cool. If I just come to big screen, now as you can see why I have used display flex. I use display flex to display flex direction in a single row. Whatever is there inside my section container, just display them in a single row, and that looks really cool. Now we are just going to style our left column, in which we are having our first heading and our second heading. So let me minimize my browser. It's going to be better if I minimize it. Now let me just full screen my VS Code editor, and after that I'm going to come inside my main section. Inside my section container, there's a left column div. The class that I have provided to the left column, that is left hyphen column. Inside this, I'm going to provide some padding inside that div that is going to be from top 13% and margin, and some padding from right that is going to be 2%. Let's save it. Let's come to our project, and let me make my browser in a full screen mode, and that looks really cool. Let me minimize it back again, and now let's style my heading. Coming inside my main section, inside my section container, inside my left column, I'm going to select directly h1 with its tag name, and I'm going to change its color to white. After that, same thing I'm going to be doing with our h3 tag. So let me come inside my main section, inside my section container, left column, the tag that I have provided to it, that is h3 tag. Let me change its color to white, and now let me change its font size also, because it is going to be a bit smaller. So I'll be providing it a font size that is going to be 1.4 rem. After that, I'm just going to provide it a font weight that is going to be normal. And now let's provide it a margin from top, so we are going to get some extra space from top that is going to be 5%. And after that, we are just going to style our right column. So before styling our right column, we are just going to save it. Let's come to our project, and as you can see, now our heading 1 and our heading 3 looks really beautiful. Now we are just going to style our right column, so let's style it. So for styling our right column, we are just going to come inside our main section, inside our section container. Now we are just going to provide the class that I have provided to my right column, that is dot right hyphen column. And now I'm just saying that whatever is being overflowed in my div, just hide it. So overflow hidden. And I'm going to provide this right column a position relative. After providing it a position relative, I'm just going to provide it a width that is going to be 80%, and after that I'm going to provide it a height that is going to be 500 pixel. Let's save it. And let's see. Alright, that looks really cool. Now let me come back up here, and now let me style my image. So for styling my image, same thing I'm going to do inside my main section, inside my container. I'm going to select my right column, and I'm just going to select my image by the tag name, that is going to be image. After that, I'm going to provide it a position absolute, and I'm just going to say my image width is going to be 100% to my right container, and let's save it. All right, that looks really cool. Now let me come back and now let me style my video. So for styling my video, I'm just going to come inside my main section. So inside my main section, I'm going to select my container. Inside that container, I'm having a right column and there's a video tag. So I have provided a class to my video tag that is going to be video-1. So let me select it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to provide it a margin from left that is going to be 13%. After that, I'm going to provide it a margin from top that is going to be 16%. And now let me change my video's width, that is going to be 73%. Let me save it and let me check whether the video is played inside our image or not. Let me come to the browser, and that's great. Now as you can see, there's a PNG image up there, but my video is also being played inside that PNG image, and that looks really cool. Now if I resize my window, my video should not overflow this PNG image. It will be inside my PNG image, like it's already inserted in that image. That's really cool. Now we are just going to create our second section. After that, we are just going to create our third and the fourth section, and after creating our main section, then we are just going to make this section responsive. So let's start by creating our second section. So if I just come to the browser, the project that I've already created on my website, I'm going to scroll down, and the second section is for our download your shows to watch offline. So let's start creating it. I'm just going to come to my VS Code editor, and I'm going to come inside this HTML file, and after my enjoy on your TV section, I'm going to provide it a comment that is going to be for download you show to watch offline. Download your show to watch it offline. And now I'm just going to make it as a comment. Now inside this, I'm going to provide it a div that is going to be having a class for section. This is going to be our section 2 hyphen container. Inside this, I'm going to have a left column div and a right column div. So this is going to be for our left column div, and now let's create a div for our right column. Now this is going to be our right column div. Now inside my left column div, we are going to have an image. So let me add it up here, and let me add a source. Inside my assets folder, we are having an images folder. Inside my images folder, we are just going to select the download.jpg. all right. After my image, we are going to have another div that is going to be for box shot, but I'm not going to create it now. First of all, let's style our download your shows section, and after that, the animation that we are having on our image, we are going to add it. So after my left column is done, now let's come to our right column. So inside my right column, we are going to have one h1 tag in which we are having a heading that is saying download your shows to watch offline. And after this heading 1, we are going to have another heading that is going to be in our h3 tag that is saying save your favorites easily and always have something to watch. That is going to be our h3 tag. Let's save it. Let's come to the browser. So the project that I'm creating is this one. Yeah, so let me scroll down, and as you can see up here, we are having the image, we are having our heading 1, then we are having our heading 3 that we are just going to style it now. After we have styled our left column and the right column, then we are just going to add the download animation on this image. So first of all, let's style it. So for styling it, I'm just going to come to my CSS file, and after this code ends, I'm going to provide it a comment that is going to be download your show to watch offline. Now let me make it as a comment. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come inside my main section, come inside my section 2 hyphen container, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide it a border from top 8 pixel solid the same color that I've provided to my first section, hashtag 222. After that, I'm just going to change my background color to black, and I will say whatever is there inside my section 2 container, just display it as a flex item, and default the flex direction is going to be row, and inside this div I'm going to provide it a padding from top bottom 0, and from right and left I'm going to provide 80 pixel, and now padding from bottom I'm going to provide that is going to be 90 pixel. After that, let's style our image. So for styling our image, we are going to come inside our my main section. Inside my section 2 hyphen container, in my left column I'm having my image. I'm going to say that my image should take my left columns with 100 percentage. That's it. Alright, now we are just going to style our right column. So for styling our right column, we are going to come inside my main section. So let me come inside my section 2 container. Let me come inside my right column, and after coming to my right column, I'm going to select my heading 1, and I'm going to provide it a color that is going to be white. Now let me select my h3 tag. So let me come inside my main section, inside my section 2 container, inside my right column I'm having an h3 tag. I'm going to change its color to white, and I'm going to change its font size because it's going to be a bit smaller to 1.4 rem. After that, let me change its font weight, that is going to be normal, and let's provide it a margin from top, so it will get some space from the top, that is going to be 5 percentage. Let me save it. Let me come to my clone that I'm creating, and as you can see, it looks really cool and amazing. So let me come back to my code editor, and up here we need to style our right column. So for styling, I'm just going to come before my h1, styling my h1 tag. I'm going to come inside my main section, inside my section 2 container, my right column, and I'm going to provide it a padding from top, that is going to be 13 percentage. And now let me provide it a padding from right hand side, that is going to be 2 percentage. And now let me change its width. My right column width is going to be 50 percentage. Let's save it. Let's come to the clone up here, and as you can see, it looks really cool and beautiful. So now we need to create an animation on an image. So if I come to my created Netflix clone up here, this is the download animation that we are going to create now. So let's start creating it. Alright guys, so now let's start creating our download animation. So if I come to my created project up here, you can see up here we are having a div. Inside that div we are having an image, and after that we are having a paragraph tag for the Stranger Things and an anchor tag for a downloading text. And at the right hand side we are having a download gif up here. So let's start creating it. So for creating it, we are going to come below this image where we have created or where we have uploaded our image. We are going to create a div which is going to be having a class of box, and inside this div the first thing that I'm going to add is going to be the image of the movie. So the image source is going to be inside my assets folder. Inside my images folder, the image name is going to be kept as box short.png image. That's cool. After this PNG image, we are going to be having a paragraph that will be displaying Stranger Things. That is the movie's name. And after that, we are going to add a BR tag for a line break, and we are going to display our downloading text in an anchor tag. So let me create an anchor tag. Let me provide it a href that is going to be hashtag, because we are not going to have any kind of a link attached to this downloading text. And after that, I'm going to display downloading dot. And after my paragraph is added, now we need to add a download gif. So after my paragraph, I'm going to create an image tag which is going to be having a class of download hyphen gif or a gif. My apologize. And after that, we're going to be having a source linked to the gif that I have downloaded. Inside my assets, we are going to be having an images folder. Inside that, we are going to be having the gif that is named as download-jpg, let me come to my creating project up here and let me scroll down and see we are having the image. We are having our first title downloading and then we are having the same image. All right, my apologize, we are having a link for this download gif. So how can I do that? The link is already provided in my created clone, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this, come to my Netflix website. So let me come up here, this is my clone that I've created. I'm going to right click on this gif image and I'm going to copy its image address. Let me minimize my browser and let me paste it inside this source. That's it, that's cool. And after that I'm going to close my image tag. Now let me come to my creating clone up here. Let me scroll down and now we can see up here the gif is successfully added and it's amazingly running. Now let's style it with the help of our CSS file. So let me come to my CSS file and after my image, up here, that means before styling my right column, I'm going to style my box. So inside my main section, there's a section 2 hyphen container. Inside that we are having a left column and a div which is having a class of box. I'm going to provide it a border of 7 pixel, or sorry, border of 2 pixel solid and the RGBA color. So the RGBA color is going to be 255 comma 255 comma 255 comma 0.25, and after that I'm going to provide it a background color that is going to be black. And now let me provide it a border radius that is going to be 10 pixel. And after that I'm going to provide the div for my downloading animation that is going to be 60%, because our image size is going to be 100%. So let me provide this box div as width of 60% and let me provide it a padding inside this div that is going to be 10 pixel from top, right, bottom and left. And I will say whatever items are there inside my dot box div, just display it as flex item. So it will be displayed in a single row because the default one is flex direction row. So after that I'm just going to say align all of the items in center and I will be using the margin 0 auto, and I will say whatever is being overflowed inside my container I will hide it, so overflow hidden. And after that I'll be providing it a position relative and I'll provide it a margin from top that is going to be minus 22%, so it will be shown at the top of our image. So let me save it. Let me come to my creating project up here and as you can see it looks really cool and beautiful. Now let me style my image that I'm having inside my box. So for styling it, I'm going to come back to my VS Code editor. Inside my main section, there's the section 2 for the container. Inside my left column, we are having a box. Inside that, we are having a class of box short. I'm just going to select that. I'm going to come to my HTML file, and if I show you up here, inside my box, what I'm going to do, I'm going to provide my image that is up here, that's my movie banner image. I'm just going to provide it a class that is going to be box short. Let's save it and now let's style that image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select and I'm going to change the image movies banner size to 15%. Now let me save it and let me come to my creating project, and now as you can see it looks really cool. And now we are just going to style our paragraph and our anchor tag. So for styling our paragraph tag, we are going to come inside my section, inside my second container, inside my left column, inside my box. We are just going to select my paragraph tag, provide it a margin from left. So we are going to get some space from the left side of my text that is going to be 5%, and we are going to provide some margin from top. So we're going to get some space from the top that is going to be 3%. Now let me style my anchor tag. So inside my section, we are having the section 2. Inside my left column, we are having a box which is having a class of box. Inside that we are having a paragraph tag, and inside my paragraph tag we are having an anchor tag which is displaying downloading. What I need is I'm just going to remove the underline effect. So for removing that underline from my anchor tag, I will be using text decoration none. Let me save it. Let me come back to my project, and that looks really cool and beautiful. So if I come up here and if I see up here, now we need to style our download GIF icon. So if I come to my project and if you see up here, the download GIF icon is too large. Let me make it small. So for making and selecting my GIF, I'm just going to come inside my main section, inside my section to container, inside my left column, inside my box, we are having a image which is having a class of download hyphen GIF. Let me select it, and now I'm going to provide it a width that is going to be 3em, and let me change its height, that is also going to be 3em, and I will be providing it a position absolute, and from the right hand side 0, it will be attached to my box container right. Let me save it. Let me come to my creating project up here, and as you can see up here, it looks really cool and beautiful. Now if I just make it in a responsiveness, it's not being overflowed from my div. That's the good thing about it. We are just going to make it responsive after creating my last two sections. So our first enjoy on your TV section is created. Our second download your shows to watch offline section is also created. Now let's create our third section. So no need to style our third section because we're just going to provide it a same class because we have already styled it. So I will show you. So for creating our third section, we are going to come inside my HTML file. After my download your shows div ends up here, I am going to provide it a comment that is going to be watch everywhere. Watch everywhere, and let me make it as a comment. After this, I'm going to create a div. So let me create a div which is going to be having a class that I've provided to my first section, that was section hyphen container, and inside this we are having a div which is having a left column and a right column. So let me create a div for that. This is going to be for our left column, and now let me create a div that is going to be for our right column. And now inside my first column we are going to have a heading one that is going to be displaying watch everywhere. And after this heading 1, we are going to be having the h3 tag in which we are going to display some paragraph. So let me come to my created project up here. Let me scroll down and let me copy the text that I have created up here. Let me paste it inside my h3 tag. Alright, that's it for my third section left column. Now let me create my right column. So for creating my right column, I'm going to have the image tag. Let me provide it a source that is going to be inside my assets. We are going to be having the images folder. Inside my images folder, we are having the image for the computer.png. Let me just select that. And after that, we are going to be having the video tag. Let me provide it a class that is going to be video-2 because the image in which we need to display our video is having a less size, so we need to just style our video different from our first section. So I'm just going to provide it a class that is going to be video-2, and same thing I'm going to be using up here, that is going to be autoplay. After that, we are going to be using the plays inline, and now I will be using the muted up here, so the mute all videos, and after that I will say to loop again and again if my video ends. And inside this video tag, we are going to be having the source tag, and let me provide it a source of my video. Inside my assets, we are having the videos folder. Inside that, we are going to select our second video and provide it a type that is going to be video/mp4. Now let me save it. Let me come to the browser in which I'm creating my project. I think so, this one. Yeah. So let me scroll down, and as you can see, beautiful, that looks really cool and amazing. Now we need to just provide some styling to it. So up here you can see what is the error that we're getting. The image is being overflowed from this image because we have provided it a different class. So let's style it. So for styling it, we are just going to come to our CSS file and provide a comment that is going to be for our watch everywhere section. Let me scroll down. After my second section end, let me provide it a comment for our watch everywhere section. Inside this, I'm going to select my main section. We are having our first section container. Inside that, we are having our right column in which we are having our video, and the class that I've provided to it, that is video hyphen 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to provide it a margin from left that is going to be 19%. All right, and we are going to provide some margin from top that is going to be 8%. So we're going to get some space from top, and after that we're going to provide it a width of my video that is going to be related to the image of my computer. So I'll be providing it 61%. So let me come back to my project up here that I'm creating, and as you can see, it looks really cool and beautiful and it's amazing. So this was our third section that we have successfully created. Now let's create our fourth section. So if we scroll down up here in my created project, the fourth section is going to be for our create profiles for kids. So no need to write any other code for our fourth section because we have written already in our second section, in which we are having our image on our left column and the text in our right column. So let me just work with the HTML. So let me come to my HTML up here, and after that I'm going to provide it a comment that is going to be create profiles for kid. After this div, let me provide a comment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a div. I'm going to provide it a class that is going to be section2 hyphen container, that is for our section 2. The same class I'm going to provide to my fourth section, and inside this we are going to be having two divs. One is going to be for our left column and one is going to be for our right column. So I've created my left column. Let me create it my right column. So inside my left column we are going to be having an image. So let me create my image tag. Inside that we are having a source. Inside my assets folder we are having an images folder. Inside my images we are having a png image for create underscore profile.png. We are just going to select that. That's it for our left column. Now let's come in our right column and let's provide the heading 1 that is going to be displayed create profiles for kids. And now we are going to have second information in our h3 tag. So better than writing it, I'm going to come to my created project, copy the text from here, come inside my code editor and paste it inside my h3 tag. That's it. That's simple. Let me save it. Let me come to my creating project up here. Alright, and now let me scroll down, and now as you can see, this is going to be our fourth and the last section. Now we need to just style our image and change its width to 100%. So for styling it, same thing, come to the CSS file, come below our watch everywhere section, provide it a comment that is going to be related to my create profile for kids, make it as a comment, and let's select it. Main section, section 2 container, we are having a left column in which we are having our image. I need to change its width to 100%. Let me save it. Let me come to my creating project up here, and that looks really cool and beautiful. Now we have successfully created our main section in which we are having different section for one different section, second, third and fourth. That is successfully created, but you can say it's not at all responsive. If I just make my browser in a tab screen or in a mobile screen, you can see it is displaying in a row. The flex direction is in a row, and you can see the image width is becoming 10%. So we need to just say them that display the items when it is going in responsiveness as a block. So we are just going to make it responsive. So let's make our main section responsive. Alright, so for making my main section responsive, we are just going to write some media queries. So first of all, I will be coming to this first media query, that is for 943 pixel. I will be opening this media queries, and at the end of my button styling, I'm just going to provide a comment that is going to be enjoy on your TV. So let me provide a comment up here that is going to be enjoy on your TV. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to style my first and second section, and my last two section will be styled and will be responsive automatically because I've provided the same classes that I've provided to my first and second section. So I'm just going to select my first section. In my main section, there's a section container. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to set them to display the items which is there inside my section container as a block. So it will be displayed as a block. If I just scroll up to this item, as you can see, the text is at the top and the image is at the bottom. That is how you display as a block, and the flex direction will be column. After that, I'm just going to select my left column and provide it a width of 100%. So for selecting, I'll be coming in my main section. Inside my section container, there's the left column. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to provide it a width that is going to be 100% of my mobile device, and I will say them to align the text in center. So text align center, and that looks really cool. Now we are just going to select our right column and provide it a width of 100%. So inside my main section, there's a section container. In that we are having a left column. Sorry, the image is there in a right column, my apologize. I will be selecting my right column and I will be providing it a width that is going to be 100%, and my image will be taking the size related to the styling that I provided. So now I have styled my first section up here. Now let me style my second section. So for styling my second section, I'm going to provide it a comment that is going to be download your show to watch offline. Now let me make it as a comment. So for selecting it, I will be coming inside my main section, inside my section 2 container, and I will say whatever items or whatever divs is there inside my section 2 container, display it as a block. So it will be displayed top bottom. As you can see, that looks really cool and amazing. Now I'm just going to select my left column and provide it a width of 100%. Alright, that looks really cool. Now I'm just going to select my right column. So for selecting my right column, same thing, main section, section 2 container, right column, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to provide it a width of 100%, and I will say the text is there, just align the text in center. So text align center, and that looks really cool and beautiful. Now when we scroll down, now we are just going to write the second media query that is going to be for our 774 pixel. Let me just make it in a browser screen. Let me right click and inspect and come below our 946 pixels, and it displays as block, and that looks really cool. Now I'm just going to write a media query for 774 pixels. So let me come up here. So what I'm going to do is, in this there's a section container, I'm just going to provide it some padding from bottom. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close that, make it at the right side, aligned right side of my screen, and after my 659 pixel media query, I'm going to create another media query that is going to be having the maximum width of 774 pixel, and that's cool. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select my first section, that is enjoy on your TV, and let me make it as a comment. And inside this I'm going to select my first section. So inside my main section, I'm having the section container. What I'm going to do is it's having a padding from bottom. I'm just going to select that, and I will say I don't need a padding, so I'll be providing it 0 pixel. That's cool, that's great, and it's awesome. Now we are just going to style it in our 500 pixel media query. So for styling it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a media query before my 346 pixel, that is going to be for our 500 pixel. So let me make a media query up here that is going to be maximum width, that is going to be having for 500 pixel. Inside this, first of all, I'll be selecting my first section, that is going to be enjoy on your TV. Let me make it as a comment. And for selecting my right column, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select my right column in which I'm having my video. I'm just going to provide it a height of 270 pixel. So let me come inside my main section. Inside my section container, there's a right column, just providing it a height of 270 pixel. After that, I'm just going to come to my download your show, that is gonna be my second section. So download your show to watch offline. Now inside my main section, there's a section 2 container, and inside this we are having a left column up here in which I'm having my download animation. Inside that, I'm going to select my box in which I'm having my downloading GIF. I'm just going to provide it a width of 100%. That's cool. Let's save it, and that's it for making our main section responsive, and that's going to be really cool and amazingly beautiful. Alright, so now let's check whether our main section is responsive or not. For checking it, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make my browser screen smaller, and this is how our main section looks like when it is in mobile device. As you can see, it looks really cool and amazing. And as you can see, this is my image, and you can see up here, this is our beautiful downloading animation, which is taking the 100% of width of our left column, and that looks really cool. When we scroll down, this is going to be our third section, and this is going to be our fourth section, and that is cool. But you can see there's a mistake up here that is done by me. I apologize. I'm just going to fix it now, in which I've said profiles, but there are double S. So for fixing it, I'm going to come to my HTML file and remove the S from here and save it. And that's cool. That's removed. That looks great. Now let me just make its width bigger, and let's see how it looks. Alright, that's cool. That's amazingly beautiful. Let me make it bit bigger. This is going to be our tab in a portrait mode, and that also looks cool. The images, videos are looking good, and this is our second column in which our downloading animation is looking really beautiful. Now let me make it more bigger, and this comes our laptop or our small laptop device or our tablet in a landscape mode, and this is how it looks, and that's really cool, beautiful. And this is we come in our main screen, that is going to be our monitor or a laptop, and that also looks really cool. So now we have created our header section, we have created successfully our main section. So now let's see which section we need to create. We need to create a question that is asked to the Netflix website. So for checking it, I'm going to come to my website, come to the source code section, scroll down, come to the Netflix clone, and come and view the live demo. And now when I scroll after my main section ends up here, we can see up here we are having the frequently asked questions section up here that is created with the help of JavaScript. So now we are going to create this frequently asked questions in JavaScript. So let's start creating it. Alright guys, so let's create our questions section. So after my main section ends up here, I'm going to provide a comment that is going to be question section starts. So let me provide a comment up here, question section starts up here, and I'm going to make it as a comment, and after that I will be providing again a comment that is going to be question section that ends. That's cool. So inside this, I'm going to create a section. That section is going to be having a class of question hyphen container. This is the container in which we are going to have our questions. So inside this, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to provide it a heading that is going to be frequently asked question. So frequently asked questions. So after my heading, we are going to have total 5 to 6 questions. So I'm just going to provide it a different comment, so you are going to understand when you're downloading my source code if you want to make some changes on it. Alright, so let me provide a comment that is going to be for our question number 1, and let me make it a comment. And the first thing that we are going to have a button in which we are going to have the question what is Netflix, and we are going to have an image of a plus icon. So for that, let me create a button up here. So inside this button, I'm going to provide it a ID that is going to be question 1, and let's provide it type. This is going to be a button. So inside this button, we are going to have a placeholder, or you can say the text of the button, that is going to be what is Netflix. Now let me provide a question mark up here because it's a question, and after my question is there, we are having a plus icon. Then when the user clicks on the plus icon, we are just going to display the answer of the question that is asked to the Netflix. So for providing the image, I'm going to create an image tag. I'm going to provide a source that is going to be inside my assets folder. We are having an image. Inside that, we are having a plus.png image, and I'm not going to provide any alt text up here. I'm just going to directly provide only my plus icon image. So now let me save it. Let me just come to my creating project up here, and now when I scroll down, you can see up here we are having my frequently asked question heading. We are having a button, and we are having a text that is being displayed. Now you will be confused why our image is not being displayed, because our image color is in white, so it's not going to be displayed. But when you are going to style our button and provide it a background color of dark gray, then our image will be displayed. So that's cool. So now we are going to create our div in which we are going to be having the answer of our question number 1. So for that, let's create a div, and let's provide it a ID that is going to be answer 1. So answer 1. Alright, and now let me provide it a class that is going to be answer 1 for styling it. That's cool. Inside this div, we are going to be having a paragraph. Alright, and the paragraph, we are going to be having the answer that is provided in our Netflix website. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy it from my clone that I have created. So for that, let me open my website. Let me just come to my source code section, scroll down, view a live demo, scroll down to the frequently asked questions section, just click on the plus icon, and we are having the answer that is displayed up here. I'm just going to copy the paragraph and come to my creating project, minimize it, and paste it inside my paragraph tag. So after my first line enters, I'm going to add 2br tags, so we are going to get a line break. And that's good. Let's come to our creating project, and this is how it looks like now. And as you can see, it's having the color of a white that is provided to our paragraph. That is why we cannot see our text, but when I highlight on it, you can see the text is there. So now let's style it in our CSS. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save it up here, and after mine div ends up here, I'm going to add a break that is going to be for a line break in our buttons. So let me save it. Now let me come in my CSS file, and before my media queries, I'm going to create a comment that is going to be for my question section. Now let me make it also as a comment. So now we are going to write a styling CSS code for it. So for that, first of all, I'll be selecting my question container, which I have provided a class that is question-container. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to change its background color to black, and I'm going to provide it a border from top that is going to be 8 pixel solid and hashtag 222. And after that, I will be providing some padding from top that is going to be 60 pixel inside my question container. Now let's select my heading. So inside my question container, we are having the h1 tag. I'm just going to change its color to white, and now I will say them to align the text in the center. And after that, I will be changing the font size of my heading tag that is going to be 40 pixel. And now let me provide it a margin from bottom. So we are just going to get the margin from bottom of our text, that is going to be 3%, and that looks really great and cool. Now let me style my button, in which we are having our Netflix question. So inside my question container we are having a button. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the border from the button. So I'll be using border none. I'll be changing the background color of my button, that is going to be hashtag 30 30 and 30. And after that I'm just going to change the color of the text that is there inside my button to white, and I'll change my button's width, that is going to be 60%. And after that I'll be providing some padding inside my button, that is going to be 16 pixel from top, right, bottom and left. Now let me change the font size of the text, that is going to be 23 pixel. And now I will say display flex, but before displaying flex as flex, I'm just going to save it and show you how it looks like now. So when I just save it and come up here, this is how our button looks. We are having the text, we are having our png icon. So what I'm going to say, whatever items is there inside my button, just display it as flex, and I will say them align all of the items in center, and I will be using the margin 0 auto, and I will be using the position relative. Let's save it and let's come to our project, and that looks really cool. Our text is aligned at the left side of our button. Now we need to align our image at the right side. So for aligning our image at the right side, we are just going to select our image by the tag name, that is image. So inside my question container, I'm going to select inside my button, we are having an image. Just going to change its size, that is going to be width 3%. I'll be using the display flex, line items center, margin 0 auto, and after that I will be using the position absolute, not relative, it's going to be absolute. And after that we are just going to say from right 20 pixel. Let me save it, let me come to my project up here, and as you can see we are having the text at the left side and we are having the plus icon at the right hand side. So now what we need to do is we need to style our answer section, that is up here, related to our buttons width that we have provided. So inside my question container we are having a class that is provided to the div, that is answer1. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to provide a background color, that is going to be hashtag 30, and after that I'll be providing it a width related to my button, that is going to be 60%. Display flex, align items in center to align my div in the center related to my button, so margin 0 auto. And now let me provide some padding inside my div, that is going to be 15 pixel from top, right, bottom and left. And after that I'll be changing the font size of my paragraph, that is going to be 20 pixel. And now I will say display none. Now why am I going to be using this display none? Because I'm saying no need to display the answer div now. When the user clicks on the plus icon, that only you need to display this answer div. So now when I come up here, as you can see, this is how it looks. This is our question button and this is our question answer div. So I'm just going to provide up here a styling that is going to be display none. And now when I come, our answer div is not being displayed. So now when the user just clicks on the plus icon, then only we need to display. So we are just going to do it with the help of the JavaScript. So for that, let's come to our script.js. So before coming to our script.js, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come to my HTML file and let me see whether my script is linked or not. It is linked successfully up here. So let me open my JavaScript file. So inside my JS, we are having this script.js. Let me open it, and now let me write a comment up here that is going to be for our question 1 2 3 4 5 etc etc. So let me provide a comment that is going to be for question 1, and now we are going to create a variable up here. So const, and we are going to be using, this is going to be our target div. I'm providing it a different name, that is going to be our target div. The div that I should display, that is going to be, that is having a id of answer1. So document dot get element by id, and inside this parenthesis I'll be providing the id that is provided to my answer div, that is answer1. After this, I'm going to create another variable that is going to be for our button. The button, when the user clicks on that button, we need to display this answer div. So when I come to my HTML file and let's see what is the ID that I have provided to my button, that is question 1. So let me come up here, let me use the same thing that I've provided for my target div, document.getElementById, and this is going to be our question 1. All right, and now what I'm going to say, I'm going to select my button variable name, that is button, and I will be using the concatenate operator, and where I will say when the user clicks on this button, I'm going to call a function up here. When the user clicks on the button, I'm going to call a function, and in this function we are going to be having the if else statement. Let's say if our target div, the target div, that means my answer 1 dot style dot display is is not equal to none. That means if it is displaying, I'm just going to display it as none. So target div dot style dot display, that equals to none. If it is displaying, just don't display it if the user clicks on that button again. Else we are just going to select our target div, we are just going to have the style dot display, and we are just going to say display it as a block. Let me save it, and now let me come back to my project, and now when I just click on the plus icon, it should display me the answer. That's cool. And now when I click on it back, it should just display none, my answer div. When I click on it again, my answer is displaying. When I click on it again, it is being disabled. This is how we can create question and answer or a on click display a div with the help of JavaScript. Now let me create my second, third, fourth, etc. questions. So for that, I'm going to come to my HTML file. So let me come up here to my HTML file, and let me create for my second question after this BR tag. Let me provide it a comment for my second question, and now let me create it up here. First of all, we are going to be having a button. That button is going to be having an ID that is going to be question 2, and it's going to be having a type of a button. Inside this button, we are going to provide a question that is there: how much does Netflix cost? How much does Netflix cost? And it's a question, so we are going to end it with a question mark. And after that, we are going to be having an image, and we are not going to have this alt text, so we are just going to remove it. Let me save it, and now let me create a div which is going to be having an ID, will be named as answer2, and we're going to provide it a class that is also going to be answer2. All right, that's cool, that's great, and it's amazing. Now I'm just going to close this div, and inside this div we are going to be having the answer related to the question that is asked in our question 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my created clone, open my second question up here, copy the answer that is there, and now let me open my VS Code editor and paste it inside my paragraph. Now when I save it, if I come to my creating project up here, you can see the button is created, but my answer is not being styled because it is provided a different ID. So for styling it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to my VS Code editor, come to my CSS file, and after my answer 1 ends up here, I'm going to add a comma, and I'm going to say dot answer 2. Let me save it, and let's see whether it works or not. Let's come to the project, and that's cool, it is not being displayed because we have used a display none code up there in our CSS. So now let's add some JavaScript code for our second question. Let me create a variable that is going to be named as question2, or no question2. Why it's question2? It's an answer, but if I named it as a target div, it should have different name related other than the same name that I have provided to the first variable. So I'll be keeping it as question2, it doesn't matter. And for our button, we are just going to say question2 button. Alright, so document.getElementById, this is going to be our answer div ID. Now let me create a variable for our question to button that equals to document dot get element by id, and the id that I have provided to my second button, that is going to be question 2. Now let me write the same code up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the same code that is written for this. I'm going to paste it below our second variable up here, and I'm going to change this button to question button, question 2 button, and that's cool. And inside this, what I'm going to say, if my target div, now I'm just going to change it to the question 2. Let me save it. Let me come to my creating project up here, and now when I just click on the button, it should display me the answer. When I click on it back, it should display as none, and that is working fine. Same thing I'm going to do with our next questions.
Alright guys, so now we have successfully created our question section with our last question, that is question number 6, which you can see up here. We have successfully created it. So let's test it out whether it's working fine or not. So for testing it out, I'm just going to open my browser where my live server is running, and I'm going to scroll down, and as you can see up here, there are total 6 buttons with their 6 own answers. So if I try to test my second last question up here, when I just click on the plus icon, it should display me the answer. That's cool. And now what I need to do is I need to make my question section look responsive. So let's make it responsive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make my browser screen smaller, and now it is less than 500 pixel. What I need is when it comes below 659 pixel media query, I need to change my buttons width to the 100% width, and I need to change the size of my plus icon. So let's change it. So for styling it and making my question section responsive, I'm going to come to my CSS file, and after coming to my CSS file, I'll be coming to the media query section where I'm writing my responsive CSS code. I'm just going to come to my 659 pixel media query. I'm going to scroll down till the end of it, and before ending, I'm just going to provide a comment to it that is going to be question section starts. And now let me make it as a comment by pressing ctrl plus question mark. And after that, I'm going to select my question container. Inside my question container, I'm having a button. I'm just going to select that button, and I'm going to change its width. That is going to be 100% of my mobile device. Let me save it, and now let's check whether it is working fine or not. Let's come to our browser, and boom, it's working fine. And you can see the button is taking the 100% width of my Android device when it is in the mobile devices. Now what I need is when I just click on the plus icon up here, you can see we are getting our answer div, but it is not taking the 100% width. So now let me select all of my answer divs and change its width to 100% to make it responsive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to minimize it, and now I will be coming inside my question container, and dot I will be selecting my answer 1, then we are having the answer 2 comma, we are just going to select our answer 3, and all of the answers that we are having related to the questions. We are having total 6 questions, that means we are going to have total 6 answers. That's true. So our answer number 5 comma the last answer, that is going to be 6 one. So answer 6. I'm just going to select it, and I'm just going to change its width, that is going to be 100%, and that's it. Let's check it in our browser. Let me switch to the browser screen up here, and now when I just reload the page, you can see up here we are having our question. When I just click on the plus icon, we can display our answer div also, and it is taking the 100% width of the mobile device. That's cool. So I don't need to style my plus icon or change its font size or width and height, because when I provided my button 100% width, its size is automatically changed. So no need to change it, and this is how we create our question section responsive. Now we are just going to create our footer section. That's going to be our last section of our Netflix clone. So let's check what we are going to create in our footer section. So let me just come to my official Netflix website. Alright, let's come to the official Netflix website, or you can just go to my website and check out the clone demo. Let's scroll down till the end, and now we can see up here we are going to be having this email address input with some paragraph and a get started button. And after that, we are having a simple footer that is created with HTML and CSS. So let's start creating our footer section. Alright guys, so now we are going to create this email address input with a get started button. At the top of this input we are having a paragraph. So let's start creating it. So what I'm going to do is I will be coming to my creating project up here, and I'm going to minimize my browser, and now let me just maximize my VS Code editor and come to my index.html file. Now as you can see up here my question sections is ending up here. After my question section ends up here, I'm going to provide a comment that is going to be email address starts. So let me provide a comment up here. That's for starting our email address, and now for ending I'm just going to copy the same paragraph up here and paste it after it, and I will change the start to email address ends. Alright, that's cool. Now in between this email address start, I'm going to create an email address container. So for that, let me create a div up here, and let me provide it a class that is going to be email hyphen address hyphen container. And now inside this div, the first thing that we are having a paragraph. So I'll be creating a paragraph. I will be coming to the official Netflix website, and I will be copying this paragraph by selecting and pressing Ctrl plus C, and I will minimize my Chrome back again, and now I'll paste it in between this paragraph tag. And after my paragraph, I'm going to be having an input and a get started button. So for creating an input, I will be using the input tag up here. After my paragraph, let's press enter. Input, the type I'm going to provide it, that is going to be text, and now let me provide it a name for working with the backend. So that is going to be email, and now I'm going to provide it a placeholder that is going to be email address. That's cool. Now let me just close my input by the greater sign, and after my input I'm going to create a button for a get started. The type of this button is going to be for submission, so I'll be using this submit. And after that, let me name my button, that is going to be get started, and after that we're going to be having a greater than sign. Let me save it. Let me come to my creating project up here, and now when I just scroll down, you can see up here we are having a paragraph that is not being displayed because the color is changed to white. But when I just select, you can see it's highlighted. We are having our input and our get started button. Now let's style our email address input with the help of CSS. So for styling it, I'm going to come to my CSS file. Before my responsive CSS code up here, my question section code ends up here. I'm going to provide a comment that is going to be email address starts. And now let me make it as the comment. Inside this code, first of all, I'm just going to select my email address container. So dot email hyphen address hyphen container. Inside this container, I'm going to provide it a z index of 2, and now let me provide a position relative. Now I will say whatever is there inside my container, align all of the items in center, but I'm saying text align in center. So inside this container I'm having a paragraph tag, and that will be aligned in center. After that, I'll be providing this container width of 100%, and now I'll provide some padding from top, that is going to be 4%, and padding from bottom, that is also going to be 4%. And after that, let me change the background color of this container so that it will match with our Netflix clone to black. Let's save it. Let's come to our creating clone up here, and now when we scroll down, we can see up here we can display our paragraph. We can see it. We can see all of the items that is there inside my container are aligned in center with the help with email address input and our get started button. Now what we need to do is we need to style our email address input and our get started button. So for styling it, I'm going to select my email address container. Inside that, I'm going to select my input by the tag name. I'm just going to change its width, that is going to be 35%, and provide some padding from all the sides, that is going to be 22 pixel. And now I don't need a border in my input, so I will be displaying as border none, and provide some margin from top, so we are going to get some space from the paragraph that we have provided, 0.5%. And now what I need to do is when the user select the input, there's an outline that is being displayed. So I don't need it, so I will be using the outline none. And now let's style our button. For styling our button, we can come inside the container, and for styling I have not provided any kind of a class or an ID, so I can directly select it by the tag name that is going to be button. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide some padding to all the sides inside my button. That is going to be 22 pixel, and I don't need a border, so I'll be using the border none. Change my button's background color to hashtag EF0914, and after that the text color on my button is going to be white. And let's provide some margin, let's remove some margin from the left side of my button, that is going to be minus 0.3 percentage. And after that the text on my buttons weight is going to be bold, so font weight bold. Let me save it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch to my browser screen and check how it's gonna look like. So awesome, that looks really great. We are having our beautiful paragraph, we are having our email address input. Now when I just click on, the outline is not being displayed, and this is our beautiful get started button. So now when I just go it in responsiveness, what I need is, like, when we scroll up to our header section, you can see up here our email address input is in another row and our get started is in another row, so I need to make it responsive. So now let's make our email address section responsive. For making it responsive, I'm going to come to my responsive CSS code section. Let me scroll down, and from here I'm going to be selecting my 943 pixel media query, and I'm going to scroll it to the end of the media query up here after my question section responsive CSS code ends, and I'm going to provide a comment that is going to be for our email address. So let me make a comment up here that is going to be email address, and inside this I'm going to be writing a responsive code for my email address section. So I'll be selecting my email address container. Inside that I'm having my input. Alright, I'm going to provide it a padding that is going to be 17 pixel, and now I'll be changing my inputs width, that is going to be 55%. And now let me select my get started button. Inside my container I'm having a button. I'm going to be selecting it by the tag name. So I will be using the display block code up here. Let me save it. Let me come to my browser screen up here, and let me reload the page. That's cool. Now this is my creating clone. Let me minimize it back again, and after that I will be using the display flex code back. I will say align all of the items in center. I will be using the margin 0 auto, and after that I will be providing margin from top, that is going to be 1.5 percentage. And now I'll be providing some padding inside my button, that is going to be 12 pixel. Let's save it. Let's come to our clone, and that's awesome. Let me reload the clone page up here. Let me inspect it, and now when I just go in a smaller devices, and now you can see up here when we scroll down we are having our email address input and our get started at the bottom of our email address input. That is cool. And now we are going to be creating a footer. So let's start creating our footer section, that is going to be the end of our Netflix clone. If till now you are watching the video and if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. So let's start creating our footer section. Alright guys, so now for creating our footer section, after my email address section ends up here, I'm going to provide a comment that is going to be for our footer section starts. So let me press 2 times enter, and let me provide a comment that is going to be footer section starts. And now for making it as a comment, I'm going to press CTRL plus question mark as a short key. And after that I'm going to copy the same text by pressing CTRL plus C and paste it after it. And I'm just going to change the start to the end. Alright, inside this comment I'm going to create a footer. Inside this footer tag I'm going to be having a heading that is going to be question mark contact us. So for creating that heading I will be using the h5 tag, and now let me provide the heading that is going to be questions question mark and contact us. And after our heading ends we are going to be having a div and a class that is going to be having middle as the box. And now let me close this div. Inside this div, I'm going to be having another div which is going to be having an anchor tag which is going to be not linked anywhere, so I will be providing hashtag, and let me provide a text that is going to be FAQ. Same thing I'm going to be doing with our next three columns also. We are going to be having a div. Inside this div we are going to be having an anchor tag, nothing linked, so I'm going to provide a hashtag and the text. Same thing after this div, we are going to be having another div in which we are having an anchor tag, nothing to link, so we're going to be having hashtag and we're going to provide a pair privacy. And after this div ends up here, same thing we're going to do with our last text, that is going to be having a div anchor tag that is nothing to linked, so I'll be providing a hashtag and the text up here that is going to be speed test. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the sidebar, right click on our HTML file and open it with live server. And now when it's opened, I will scroll to the end of our footer section up here. We can see up here we are having our heading and we are having our list items displayed up here. Let me minimize my browser and let me create a select options up here. So inside this middle box only, what I'm going to do is after my speed test ends up here, I'm going to be adding a 2-line break. So I'll be using the 2 BR tags and I'll be having the select tag up here in which we are going to be having an option which is going to be having a value, and you can give it any value you like. So I'm going to be providing kw-en / and this is the language you can choose as an English. And the second option I'm going to provide, which is going to be having a value that is going to be / kw / and this is going to be an, for an example, I'm just going to keep this language as Arabic. Alright, after our option is ended up here, select option is up here. Better than writing the Arabic in our English text, we can just write it in Arabic way. So for doing that, we can just come to the browser, we can open a new tab and we can go to the Google and search for Arabic translate, English translate to Arabic. That's good. And up here I'm going to enter the text that is going to be Arabic, and now when it's translating it is displayed as Arabic. So what we can do to fix this issue is that we can come to the Netflix clone that we have created in our easy to code website. We can come to the source code section, scroll down to the Netflix landing page clone live demo, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, inspect on the button up here, scroll to the top, and we can see up here we are having the select option in which we are having this RB as a text. We are going to press Ctrl plus C to copy that. Now I can just close the clone that I have already created. Let me come to my code editor and paste it up here, and now it is being displayed in a Arabic language. That is going to be our select options, and after that we are going to be having two more line breaks. So we are going to be using 2 BR tags and we are having a paragraph that is displaying as Netflix. Alright, and up here we can display it as Netflix Kuwait. Now we can just press Ctrl plus S to save it. Now I can just come to the browser in which my live server is running out. We can see up here we are having English selectable options and we are having a paragraph that is displaying as Netflix Kuwait. We can style it with the help of HTML and CSS. But before styling it, let's complete its full structure. After this div ends up here, we are going to be having our second div, which is going to be having a class same as middle box, and inside this we are going to be having a div which is going to be having an anchor tag that is going to be having a text that is going to be help center. So now you know what we are going to do in this footer section video. We are just going to have a div which is going to be having a class of middle and a box, and inside that div we are going to be having another div which is not going to be having any class or an ID. Inside that div we are going to be having an anchor tag, and inside that anchor tag we are going to be having our text that we need to display. Same thing I will be doing up here, so I'm just going to fast forward this video. Alright guys, so now we have created all of our 4 middle box that is going to be our text container in which we are having our anchor tags in a div. That's cool. So now we have created it. Let's come to our browser, let's reload our page and let's see how it's going to look like. So now it is displaying in a column. We need to display it in a row. So let's style it with the help of our CSS. So now we are going to come to our CSS file up here, and before our media queries start up here, that is going to be our responsive CSS code, I am going to provide a comment that is going to be our footer section starts. And up here I'm going to be selecting my footer tag in which I'm having all of our columns that is having a div. Like I meant to say, this is our main footer tag in which I'm having my heading, in which I'm having my main divs. So I'll be selecting my footer. I'm just going to provide it a background color that is going to be black, so that will match our Netflix clone background color, and I'll be providing it a border from top that is going to be 8 pixels solid hashtag 222. And let's provide some padding from top that is going to be 5%. And now when I save it and come to the browser, now it looks really cool. We are having a border from top, we are having some padding inside our footer. Now we are going to style our heading that is having the heading tag that is going to be h5 tag, so we can just directly select the heading tag. So inside my footer I'm having an h5 tag. I'm just going to select it. I'm just going to change its color to white, and I will say align the text in a center. And after that I'll provide some padding from bottom, so we'll get some space in our main anchor tags. Some padding from bottom that is going to be 1%. And now when I save it and come to the browser, that looks really cool. If I come to my created clone up here, I will open a new tab, come to my website, come to the source code section, scroll down to our Netflix landing page clone. When I scroll down to the live demo and come to the footer section up here, and you can see up here now we are having our heading that is styled same. Alright, now we need to style our main anchor tags. So for styling our main anchor tags, what we are going to do is we are going to come to our HTML file, and we are having this divs that is having a class of a middle box. We are just going to put this middle box divs in another div. So I'm just going to select all of the divs, press a tab, and after my h5 tag I'm going to create another div which is going to be having a class of content in which I'm having all of my footer contents. I'm going to cut my last closing div and paste it after my last middle box div ends and save it. Now I'm going to come to my CSS file. After coming to my CSS file, I'm going to select my footer. Inside that I'm having a class of a div that is having a class of content in which we are having all of our anchor tag divs. And what I'm going to do up here is that I'm just going to provide it a maximum width that is going to be 1350 pixel, and I'll be providing some margin to it that is going to be 0 pixel from top and bottom. From right and left I'm going to provide it that is going to be 90 pixel, and provide some padding from all the sides that is going to be 20 pixel. And now I'll say display the items which is there inside our content div as flex items. And what I'm going to do is I'll be using the flex hyphen wrap, that is going to be wrap. And after that I will be having the justify content in center. Now when I save it and when I come to my project, as you can see it is being displayed in a row because the default flex direction is row, so it will be displayed up here like that. Now we need to style it. So now we are going to be selecting our box. That means the class that I have provided to the div that is there inside our content, the box div class. So we are going to select it. So for selecting it, I'm going to come inside my footer section. Inside my content, we are having a class of box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to provide it a width that is going to be 20%, and I'll be providing some transitions to it that is going to be all 0.4 seconds ease. And after that we are going to be selecting our paragraph tag. So footer, inside that we are having a content in which we are having a paragraph tag that is being displayed as a Netflix quote. We are just going to select and we are just going to say the text line, the text justify. Alright, that's cool and amazing. Now we are just going to select our middle that is provided as a class. So inside my footer, there's the content that is having a class of a middle. I'm just going to select it and I'm going to provide some padding from left that is going to be 80 pixel. That's cool. Now we're going to be selecting the anchor tags that is there inside our middle class div. So inside my footer, there's the content. Alright, inside that content, we are having a middle class in which we are having an anchor tag. We are going to provide it a line height that is going to be 32 pixel. After that, we are going to change our anchor tag's color to white, and the text decoration that we are having at the bottom of the anchor tag, that is of course an underline. I will be selecting that and I will be saying display it as a none. So text decoration none. After that, we are just going to have some hover animation when the user hovers our anchor tag. So we are going to select in the footer, we are having a content in which we are having our middle class, in which we are having an anchor tag. We are going to add a column and we are going to be having this hover. When the user hover our anchor tag, we are just going to be having the text decoration underline. Now when I save it, when I come to my project up here that is being created, you can see when I just hover this anchor tags, it is being underlined. That's the good hover animation. Now we are going to style our select option. So for styling it, what we are going to do is we are going to come inside the footer. We are having a content, we are having a middle in which we are having a tag that is known as select. Alright, we are going to select it. We are going to provide some padding inside that select button that is going to be 8 pixel. Change its background color to transparent. That means I'm going to remove it. Let's provide some border to it that is going to be 1 pixel solid gray. And after that, we are just going to change the color inside our select option to white. And now we can save it. We can come to our project and now let's see how our select button looks like. When I select it, as you can see, its background color is white and the text color is also white, so it cannot be displayed. So what can I do is I can just change the background color of our option. So for changing that, I will be coming inside my footer. Inside my content div, we are having a middle div in which we are having a select tag and we are going to select our option tag. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background color to black. Alright, that's cool. Alright guys, so now our footer section is successfully created. To checking it, I'm going to open my browser and as you can see, our footer looks really good. Now let's check whether it's responsive or not. So when I just come and right click on inspect it, and when I just make it in a smaller device, as you can see, it's not at all responsive. So now let's make our footer section look beautiful in our responsive devices. So for that, I'm going to come to my CSS file and up here I'm having my responsive CSS code. I'm going to write a new media query. So before my 943 pixel media query, I'm going to create a new media query. So at the rate media, which is going to be having the maximum width, that is going to be 1100 pixel. That means 1100 pixel. Inside this, I'm going to select my footer in which I'm having a content tag and in which we are having a class named as middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some padding from left side that is going to be 50 pixel. That's cool. Now let me close this media queries because we have done with our 1100 pixel media query. Now we are going to come to our 943 pixel media query. Scroll to the end of this media query and provide a comment that is going to be footer section. And now let's press ctrl plus question mark to make it as a comment. Inside my footer, I'm going to select my content in which we are having a class of a box. What I'm going to do is up here, I'm just going to change its width to 50%. Let me save it. Let me come to my project up here. Let me right click and inspect it. Now when I just go to the smaller devices, the width is changed to the 50% and only the 2 columns are being displayed in our first row. That's cool and amazingly beautiful. Now we are going to be coming to our media query that is going to be for our 500 pixel devices. So up here is our 500 pixel media query. At the end of the media query, I'm going to provide a comment that is going to be for our footer section. I'm just going to select it, make it as the comment, and I'm going to select my footer tag. What I'm going to do is, after selecting it, I will be changing its position to relative. Then I'm going to select my footer, in which I'm having a class of a content, and inside that I'm having a class of a box. I'm going to select it and change its width to 100%. And after that we are going to provide some margin from top, that is going to be 30 pixel. And now I'm going to select footer, in which I'm having a content, and the first class that I have provided to all of my items, that is going to be middle. I'm going to select it and remove the padding from the left, that is going to be 0. So I'll be writing 0 rather than writing 0 pixel. That's it for making your footer section responsive. So now I'm going to save it, come to my Chrome browser up here, and that's it. Our footer section is created. Let's see whether it's responsive or not. For checking it, I'll be selecting my browser screen, drag it slowly by slowly, and beautiful. That's cool. It's responsive. This is going how it's going to look like in our mobile devices. It will be in one column, one div in a single row, second div in a single row. That looks cool in our small mobile devices. So this is our Netflix clone that is created successfully. Let me overview from scratch. Let me come to the top of our header section. Our header section, cool. Let me scroll down to our main section. Good animations, amazingly beautiful. And this is how we create a Netflix clone, responsive landing page with the help of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So if you like the tutorial video, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next video.